China is going to inspire socialist revolutions throughout the entire world, including in the United States.
Socialist. And after talking with many young Americans, I have noticed something striking. More and more of them have lost faith in capitalism.
They believe that trying to redistribute wealth in a country where everyone owns guns is almost impossible.
Is the American dream dead? While China planned its economy 30 years into the future, the US is grappling with a wealth gap not seen in a century. Now, a 34-year-old democratic socialist is the mayor of New York City, promising a radical change. But can a socialist revolution truly take root in the heart of global capitalism? Today we're reacting to the online discourse, cutting through the hype and the hate with cold, hard data. Let's get into it.
China is going to inspire socialist revolutions throughout the entire world, including in the United States. They're already the most technologically advanced country in the world, with an economy that actually works for all of their citizens, and they haven't even reached socialism yet. What they're doing right now is speed running through the capitalist stage of economic development on their way to the goal of reaching socialism by 2050. They just released their 15th five-year plan with their goals for the next 5 years. What they're doing is frankly incredible. They have a long-term vision with a stated goal of achieving socialism to create a better world for all of their citizens. And the results already are amazing. Compare that to what we have in the United States. We have a two-party political system where both parties serve the ultra-wealthy and corporate interests. The Democrats refuse to listen to any of their voters. The Republicans are historically comparable to Nazis. We have a president who is a reality TV star idiot who legislates based on tweets. The closest thing we have to a plan is Project 2025, which is just a goal to send us back to feudalism. The end goal of everything is just to make money for the ultra wealthy with no concern for where it comes from or who gets hurt along the way or what's actually created by it. China is going to be the envy of the world in countries like this. People are going to see what they're doing over there and go, why can't we have that too? And as things get worse and worse over here and better over there, you think revolution's not going to happen? Really? And China seems down to help. At least there's that.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack here. The frustration in this clip is palpable, and it's not unfounded. He points to a system where both parties serve the ultra-wealthy, and the data backs this up. In the United States, the top 1% of households now hold over 30% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% hold less than 4%. Since 1979, the wages for the top 1% have skyrocketed by 182%, creating a massive chasm between the rich and the working class. So the anger? Justified. China's success is what they officially call socialism with Chinese characteristics. This model has lifted nearly 800 million people out of extreme poverty, a monumental achievement recognized by the World Bank. But it's crucial to understand this was achieved through a state-led, fiercely competitive market system, not by abandoning capitalism entirely. China is still classified as an upper-middle-class income country, and while it has a stated goal of achieving a more advanced socialist society by 2050, it's currently in what its own leaders call the primary stage of socialism. The idea that it's a pure socialist model ready for export is a misunderstanding of their long-term, pragmatic, and market-driven approach. And now for comments. If communism socialism happens in the US, then it will most likely spread everywhere else, since there won't be any more threat of US intervention destroying it. China isn't just making 5-year plans, they're consistently hitting their 5-year goals. America could never.
Americans, are you sure you like socialism? 34-year-old Zohran Mamdani just won the New York City mayoral race. He is widely described as a democratic socialist. And after talking with many young Americans, I have noticed something striking. More and more of them have lost faith in capitalism and are turning toward socialism as a new hope. Because in their eyes, China, same as a socialist country, has achieved enormous success. So the logic goes, if socialism worked for China, maybe it could work for us. But here is the problem. Most Americans don't actually understand why China's version of socialism worked. And it's not because of free buses, free healthcare, or equal pay. Slogans are easy, reality is complicated. You have probably heard the term socialism with Chinese characteristics. So, what exactly are those characteristics? In my view, they come down to two key ideas: an effective market and active government. The effective market means that market decides resources allocation. Anyone who has done business in China knows it's one of the most brutally competitive markets in the world. The Chinese government is now building a united national market to make competition even more efficient. But markets are not perfect. That's where the active government comes in to fix what the market cannot or won't fix, breaking down local protectionism, planning long-term strategies, and pushing forward reforms that individuals alone cannot achieve. In short, China's system is not state over market. It's a constant dynamic balance between the two, like yin and yang, requiring skill, pragmatism, and constant adjustment. That's why socialism with Chinese characteristics succeeded, and why the old Soviet model failed. So yes, congratulations to Mamdani on his victory, but whether he can build an active government without collapsing into inefficiency, that's the real test. To those who now romanticize socialism, just remember, China's success came not from rejecting the market, but from mastering it. Anyway, unpacking China and the shifting world around it. Follow for first-hand insights on how people, ideas, and opportunities are moving in this new global era. Check my back page for more. Thank you.
So Yuan here is absolutely right to question if young Americans truly understand China's model. The phrase, an effective market, an active government, is the perfect way to describe it. It's not state over market, it's a dynamic balance. Anyone doing business in China knows it's one of the most competitive environments on the planet. This brings us to Zohran Mamdani. The clip poses the million-dollar question. Can he build an active government to fix problems without it collapsing into inefficiency? This is the core challenge. Mamdani's platform includes policies like fare-free buses and rent freezes. While critics call these radical, supporters point out that many European cities, often cited for their high quality of life, have similar social programs. The real test, as the video says, isn't the idealism of the policies, but the pragmatism of their execution. China's government has a level of control and long-term planning capacity that is simply unimaginable in the American political system, especially in a city that is the global epicenter of finance and real estate. Mamdani can't just copy and paste a model. He has to navigate a system designed to resist the very changes he's proposing. Let's check out some comments. Do you really think there's capitalism in the US? When corporations, with the help of loyal politicians, pass on the costs to society and hand over the profits to the elites? That's not capitalism, that's corporatism. That's very well explained. Hopefully many youngsters see it. Basically, prosperity is earned, even in China. When the government is bailing out corporations with taxpayer money, that is not true capitalism either. The idea of free market has been long abandoned. We need a balance and a system that puts at least some priority on people over profits.
How do socialist Chinese view the Muslim immigrant socialist Zohran Mamdani's election as mayor of New York City? In short, they believe that trying to redistribute wealth in a country where everyone owns guns is almost impossible. You know, China is a socialist country, right? Even they want him to win, but realistically, most of them think Mamdani represents extreme socialism and will lead to disastrous results. First, this is a departure from the Protestant cultural foundation of the United States, the core spirit of its majority religion, Christianity. Mamdani's rise marks another failure of Protestant influence, and religious conflict in America will likely grow stronger from now on. Second, Zohran Mamdani stands alone. Trump was an old figure in the Republican Party, and Mamdani is now the same for the Democrats. Because of his sudden rise, both Republican and Democratic establishment figures supported turmoil in state. Can you imagine? That means neither party's establishment backs Mamdani, making it almost impossible for him to achieve much while in office. Third, can socialism succeed in New York City? Socialism only works under strict conditions. It requires control over capitalism. So tell me, my friend, that in the United States, capital controls the government or the government controls the capital? Answer me, please. Trying to carry out socialism in the heart of global capitalism is underestimating the world's smartest capitalists in the United States. A 34-year-old man getting power just because he gives good speeches is so risky. It's like how Zelensky became president of Ukraine because he was a good actor, and you know the result was a devastating war. Any politician skilled at stirring crowds through speeches should be treated with caution. Don't forget that the last such figure was Adolf Hitler of Nazi Germany. Even China, a socialist country, doesn't offer free public transport, doesn't freeze rent, and doesn't impose extra taxes on the rich. It only requires fair taxation while strictly limiting the rich from influencing politics. As for immigration policy, Trump's restrictions had downsides, but opening borders fully also has serious problems. How will Mamdani deal with those? And his idea of setting up city-run stores that buy and sell goods at no prices. China has tested this model for decades. It still exists today, but only as a supplement to the market system, not as the main structure at all. Overall, Chinese observers think Mamdani's plans are too idealistic, and executing them will bring major disasters. And finally, his approach goes against natural social laws. New York became a world-class city because world-class talent competed to build it. Competition is the lifeblood of great cities. If you take it away, and the city declines undoubtedly. The world's top talent won't stay in a place that rewards failure. People living in wealthy neighborhoods won't let their communities turn into slums. They'll either fight to preserve order or move somewhere better. For Mamdani to succeed, he has only one real path: to create more wealth while ensuring that the rich aren't attacked or alienated, so they stay and support his work. Then he can direct more of the new wealth toward ordinary New Yorkers. In simple terms, first grow the pie, then share a little more with regular people. But the regular people cannot wait that long. They want it tomorrow. But sadly, even he did it in a short period of time, it will fail again, because New York City has no city walls. If life there becomes much better than surrounding areas, waves of new immigrants will pour in, sparking endless new conflicts. New York will never become a paradise on earth. So in the end, it's sad to say that the Muslim communist ghost Mamdani represents is already hovering over New York City. The Democrats, Republicans, big capitalists, and anti-Muslim groups will eventually unite against him, turning New York City into a major battlefield. Follow me an Eastern perspective to see the world.
Now, this perspective, while harsh, raises some brutally realistic points that anyone, socialist or not, has to consider. The central argument that trying to implement socialism in the heart of global capitalism is like swimming against a tidal wave. The question, does capital control the government or does the government control capital? This is the fundamental dilemma for any American socialist. The clip correctly points out that Mamdani faces opposition not just from Republicans, but from the Democratic establishment and powerful corporate interests. We've seen this play out. His housing reforms, for example, will face a massive battle from what one expert called the real estate town that is New York City. However, the idea that his plans are doomed to fail isn't a foregone conclusion. The clip mentions city-run grocery stores as idealistic, but other US cities are already experimenting with this. It dismisses rent freezes, but former New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio successfully implemented them by appointing allies to the Rent Guidelines Board, the same path Mamdani is expected to take. So while the challenges are immense, there are precedents and pathways for some of these policies. The speaker's final point is the most salient. To succeed, Mamdani must find a way to create and redistribute wealth without causing capital flight. He has to grow the pie while sharing it more equitably. That is a tightrope he has to walk, and it's one of the most difficult balancing acts in modern politics. So where does this leave Americans? The rise of figures like Zohran Mamdani isn't happening in a vacuum. It's a direct response to a system that many feel has left them behind. The data on inequality in the West is stark and undeniable. At the same time, the solutions aren't simple. The Chinese model is a complex blend of state control and ruthless market competition that is not easily replicated. Mamdani's victory in New York isn't the start of a revolution. but the start of a very real, very difficult political experiment. Whether you're a diehard supporter or a skeptical critic, his mayoralty will be a crucial test case. It will force a conversation about what's possible within the American system and whether the deep-seated problems of capitalism can be reformed from within. The world is watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher. What are your thoughts? Can Mamdani succeed, or are the forces of capital too strong? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and ring the bell so you don't miss another video. Until next time, bye.